Ooh, this blade's got some heft to it. How's it going, everyone? It is 12:42 on Sunday morning, January 14th on the West Coast in Portland, Oregon. It is lightly snowy outside and fucking cold, so I'm in here doing some sharpening, looking out the beautiful snow out my office window. Got my space heater next to me in case my office gets cold as shit again. And today I have actually a lot of knives to sharpen. It's been nice doing all these live streams, gotten me a lot of business, which is good because I was like kind of drying up, kind of was out of shit to sharpen for a couple weeks. But doing all these live streams, bringing in a bunch of knives, so now we have more content to make content, more knives to make content with, and more knives to make some money with. So today we're going to sharpen the PM2 Tanto. These are a big hit. When these dropped originally, I know a lot of people poo-pooed the blade shape or didn't like it or thought it looked funny or thought Spyderco did a bad job grinding it, whatever you wanted to think. These blades now are really hard to get, but when they first came out, people didn't think they were as cool as they are now. People talk a lot of trash about the grinds on these. They're okay. They're fine. It's Spyderco. Don't be too particular. We're going to make it look better. And I know that's why a lot of people send me their knives, is so I can give them the cool looking bevel of their dreams and make it all even. And we're going to do that. But this one is honestly, I mean, it's a stock edge. It's not going to look cool, but it's even. It's got a nice heel to it. The Tanto tip's not all jacked up. It's pretty even. It won't be, hopefully, it'll be relatively easy to make look good is part of it. So we're going to do a Tanto. This was requested by someone yesterday, and luckily I had one come in yesterday. And now let's pin this post to the top of the group. Sort by new posts. Tom Moore, learning how to sharp a Tanto PM2, pinned to featured. All righty. So we got going on over in the comment section. We got Ryan Dye coming to join us. Oh, good. And we have Lachezi, who I believe this is his knife. I believe that's the package that this went to. Yes. So we're doing your Tanto. We're doing on my TSProf. It's going to be cool. This is going to take a minute. You want this mirrored, I imagined, right? Tell me if you don't want it mirrored in the comments, because I'm going to mirror it, because that's what I assume you wanted. So first things first, I'm going to do a Tanto. We're going to do the primary bevel just because you can do them either way. It doesn't matter. But I like doing the primary bevel because it's easier, and it gets my confidence up, and it lets me learn the blade a little bit, like what the angle is, which is important. It's easier to find the angle on the little or the primary edge than the little tip. And they're the same angle. Okay. Primary bevel parallel to the jaws. You know it. Here we go. I'll do a nice mirror on it. We'll do an Instagram quality 8,000 grit mirror. Okay, 150 grit stone. This is going to take a minute. This might be a long episode because these aren't quick to do. Other Tantos aren't that bad. The thing that takes longer on Tantos is you have to set up the edge twice. But the thing that takes longer on PM2 Tantos is PM2s have a relatively thick behind the edge measurement, as in the bevels can be pretty shallow and it has big bevels and all that shit. Well, when you're grinding away something that's got a big bevel, it just takes, you're grinding a bigger surface. It just takes more effort, more time than a small bevel. Okay. Draw on the edge of the marker. Extra important on the Tantos to draw on with a marker because sometimes there's spots that don't get hit the way it's ground. So be thorough. The Sharpie doesn't lie. It's your guide. There's still a Sharpie on an edge and you've been scrubbing on something, you're not at the right angle yet. So you got to keep on scrubbing. Okay, so we're going to start this at 17 degrees because that's probably where it is. We're just going to confirm that. Right there, 17 degrees. Let's have some coffee. I am dead ass tired. I took a 100 milligram edible last night, and I didn't feel it until this morning. I was so tired. I slept in until like noon. I just woke up. This is not normal for me. I am a very early riser. I'm usually up at 5. I couldn't drag my ass out until noon. Okay, got all my stuff. Let's check our stop collar. Right here, we're good. It's not going to hit the blade. Let's sweet it up a little bit, get a little more stone. Okay, so first things first is that we got a problem. At 17 degrees, the way I have my stone and the way I have this clamped, it's too low of an angle, and the stone is not touching the blade right now. The stone is touching the clamp because it's at a low angle. So I need to reclamp it farther out. This has become an issue more now that I plasti dipped my jaws because they're a little bit thicker, and I use chamois cloth between the jaws, which also makes it thicker. So this does happen occasionally. You just got to push it a little bit farther out towards the edge. Okay, let's see if we can clear the clamp now. Now we clear the clamp, and because it's a Spyderco, we are exactly at 17 degrees. The Sharpie immediately disappears. This is a very well profiled edge, so that's awesome news. So we're at 17. Let's see if the presentation side is easy. Presentation side is as easy. So here's a good example for next time someone questions what the angle is on a Spyderco. They're 17 degrees. They're supposed to be like this. When I can do both sides and they come out nice and clean, it's not that common, but this is the way a knife is supposed to be ground at the factory. Okay, so since we're doing a Spyderco and it's not DLC, we're not going to protect the heel. We're going to use the heel as our bumper. On Tantos, the heel is a little bit different. It's not straight up and down. The heel is slanted, so you've got to be kind of careful how far you push the stone back, because your ending point is going to look a little different than if this was just a drop point blade. So let's do the heel since the edge is already pretty much profiled. We're going to hop up on this little bump. When you're doing heels right there, that's where the plunge grind stops. A little click past it. That's where you want to be. You want to be the click past the plunge grind. A light touch. Taking out the heel. Careful not to overdo it. Careful not to just pay attention. It's pretty much already done. Now there's a little spot right in front of the heel I have to grind out like usual, but the heel is nice and square. It's pretty simple to do heels. If you have good stones, it takes, what, 20 seconds? Whoa. I'm trying to sharpen a Spyderco Phoenix right now, and it's taking me a bit to find the angle. The angle should be 17 degrees, unless that's a really funky knife. I think, is that a recurve? Those are hard to sharpen, FYI. Because only the corners of your stones touch recurve. No, it's not a recurve. It's just a funky blade. Okay. Try 17 degrees. Put Sharpie on the edge. And then see if it wipes away at 17 degrees. It should be there. Or close. doing the rest of the edge now. It's nice and profiled, and we have a nice clean line at our Tanto transition point. So we're making sure not to roll over it. We're making sure we're not doing both edges at once. We're just doing the primary bevel and stopping when we're over the transition without rolling it. This heel's almost done. I just don't want to overdo it, so we're just a few strokes here and there and then fade out and check it. I think we're pretty good on the heel. We're going to have to do more passes next time, but we got a burr. That was relatively easy to get a burr. We're right on the right angle. It comes up fast. You can feel the burr on the other side. Okay, let's do the heel. Since our edge is profiled so well, feel the bump. We'll go past the bump. Done. Man, Tanto heels are easy. That was fast. I'm sure it's all lined up. Wow, that's really nice looking, actually. Just get the burr on the edge now. Check for a burr. We got a burr. So we've apexed the edge both sides now. So now we're sharpening. We got a burr both sides. Now we're just going to do a quick pass and touch up the heel, make it look really nice. Make sure there's no scratches that are going to stand out when we go up to the next stone that need to get out from the stone. Line up our strokes going forward. Trying to see if I need to do anything else on the heel. It looks really good. Okay, we're good on the heel. Good to go. Okay, that was nice factory level. So yes, I've seen some funky Tantos, but this one is really fucking well done. For a factory grind, this is very even, very good looking, fast to touch up. It's S30V and it's behaving nicely for us. Forward and backward strokes with the 400 grit stone to look for any big scratches in the previous stone's scratch pattern. Checking the edge out. Don't see anything. Make sure we get all the scratches out of the heel, which is a place that always is kind of not quite as shiny as the rest of the edge. So make sure we shine it up a lot. Okay. It looks beautiful. Where do you zero and measure your angles from? On here, on the Kadet, what I do, I don't know what the official way to do this is, but I put it right here on the stone, on the rod. Just kind of balance it on the rod, hit zero, move the rod out of the way, and set it right here on his arm. And there we go, 17 degrees. .400 grit, pass one, side two. Okay. Do another pass of 400 real quick. Kill the burr a little bit. Make sure we're looking too legit to quit and we can move on, because this is when we need to fix any scratches. Once we get past here, it's really hard to fix scratches. Okay, 800 grit stone. This kind of kills the burr. The burr kind of turns to dust on the stone. And this stone is kind of funny. It's like all of a sudden everything gets all powdery all over your edge as the dust builds up real quick. Like the powder, the burr just like falls apart with this stone. I'm just gonna do one pass with 800 grit. We're just trying to polish it, so we need to make sure it looks good before we move on in the light. Looking for big scratches or matte spots where everything else is shiny, just making sure the edge looks consistent, because when we get to a mirror, everything is going to pop out. So after 400 grit, if we have a scratch, it's not going to come out. If we have a scratch at 400 grit, we're not just going to be like, oh, let's work through the rest of the stones and it'll be gone. It'll still be there. These stones, once they get past, a certain point, are so fine that they're really not going to remove an actual scratch. They're just micro polishing little tiny scratches out and make everything more brilliant. Check the edge. Looks good. 2000 grit. So 2000 grit, it feels like everything just kind of floats and slides, like an air hockey table almost. Like when you're on the bevel with a high grit stone, it's kind of slippery. So you should light touch, let the weight of the stone kind of do the polishing. These stones are nice and heavy because they have a thick backing plate on them. It's kind of hard to see what you're doing though when you get to 2000. I just kind of scrub for a little bit until I assume it's doing everything it's going to do, because it polishes right away. Like you do one pass and it's semi-mirrored, and then you're just kind of going back and touching it up more and more and more. But one pass, this stuff polishes up really nice. Okay, so right there, about midway through this edge, I got a spot that it's not getting hit by this stone. It's polishing up the bevel, but it's not polishing up the top of the bevel for some reason. So we're gonna see what's going on with that. I couldn't have seen it at a lower grit because it's not shiny. It's just a matte spot. That's a little bit more matte than the polished edge. It's like the existing bevel. Okay. I'm gonna drop down to an 800 grit stone and see if I can get that out. That'll bug me. Both ways. Got to get this spot out. This is gonna bug the crap out of me. It's like a little lip of unpolished bevel at the very top of the bevel. Can't tell if it's from the factory grind. I just didn't profile it enough to get to it. What up, Matt Anderson? Thank you for joining us from YouTube. I'm just doing sharpening a little PM2 Tanto today. I have never used balsa wood for a strop. There's nothing wrong with it. I know a lot of people do it. I've just been too lazy to make one. I haven't just taken a piece of balsa wood and glued it to a blank yet. Seems like it worked really well, honestly. It'll work. I just use leather because that's what I have and that's what I bought. Okay, back to 2000. Let's see if this spot's gone or if we're going to have to drop down even farther. The joys of a mirror. Chasing perfection. It's hard to get sometimes, so. Mirrors are more of a challenge to me as far as, like, I can make a nice looking mirror, bust it out real quick, but it's the challenge of getting all the details right, because this was one that's customers obviously watching, but I'm going to take this one, I'm going to make Instagram content with it because it will get me more business. There we go. Got it out. And we already did that side. 5,000 grit. So now when I go past 2,000, 2,000's a polished edge, 5,000's just micro polishing little scratches on the edge. But it makes it more brilliant on camera. It's kind of hard to see in real life, to be honest, if there's any difference. But once I take videos of them, I can tell which videos have been done to 8,000 because they just shine a little bit different and they get a lot more likes because they twinkle in the light. Tantos show off the facets of the bevel and the blade in a really cool way. Yeah, Tantos are fun. They're just a shit ton of work. We're still on the primary bevel. Hopefully the Tanto tip is not difficult. It looks like it's going to be easy because the blade, the grind's not all over the place. So hopefully we're just sharpening it. Okay, 8,000 grit stone. Just floating on 8,000. Polishing this bad boy up. It's going to look real good. It's going to be real sharp too. Kind of want one of these now. They feel weird to flick because the blade's so much heavier. It's kind of like playing with a shaman, but without the nub to hit you in the finger. Okay, now we're done with primary bevel. Now we're going to strop it while we're still here. Oh, it's gonna take forever. This whole blade. Start with 5 micron. Clean the edge off, get all the dust off. Set this to 0. And set this to 17 degrees. That seems off. Let's do that again. 0. There we go. Should just go to 1 micron and take the scratches out of anything left. It'll just take a second. Oh man, we got a little mark on the side too. I'm gonna have to drop down. Now that we're polishing this up, the existing bevel, it's got some problems. I need to re-sharpie this. So this is what the challenge is on a mirror. Sometimes you get polished like that and shit pops out. So we are unfortunately going to drop way back down because I wanted this to go right, and I'm not doing it again. We're going back to 400 grit. So we're not restarting, but we're restarting our polishing process basically. Because this is, now that I polished it up and saw what it looks like, I can't leave it like that. That's on both sides too at the same spot. So drop back down to 400. Re-sharpie our edge, make sure we get all these little nooks and crannies at the top of the bevel. The way this was ground is good. And I sharpened it to match the good, but there's some low spots that didn't get hit, it looks like, right at the top of the bevel where the Sharpie doesn't really show. Fun. Life of a sharpener. Sometimes you just have to restart. Just shitty, very shitty. You feel like you wasted time because you literally did. As soon as you put like a lower grit stone back on and gone over what you've been polishing for 20 minutes, it's not like it's kind of okay. It's gone. It's like once you scratch it with the stone again, it's gone. I am not letting this one have that problem again. So we're going to make sure this is good to go this time. Okay. Holy shit, negative 26 in Minnesota. That's a good reason to stay inside. What up, my brother? Have you calibrated my single clamp? I have once. It probably needs to be done again. It's off by about 0.2 degrees side to side right now. I just checked it before this. So it's not really a big deal. But yeah, you do need to basically loosen all these fucking screws. And then you take a ruler or a tape measure and you measure how high the tip of the blade is off the table. Then you flip it, measure how high the tip is off the table to one side, and then you just move the screws around until it's the same both. It's kind of a janky way to do something. But yeah, I've been done it for a while. I should probably do it again. It's off by a little bit. I know that. Pretty lame when this happens, but oh well, just got to keep on going. And it looks like it's all gone. So like right now, this looks legit. It looks like a nice 400 grit satin edge, all scratches the same way. There's nothing peeking out as a different shade. Better not trick me again though. Okay, hopefully 800 is good to go this time. Okay, it looks like we hit that spot. Just going after it every which way. Sometimes when you're sharpening a bevel, like there's spots that just don't come out. You just gotta go at it a different direction. think it's gone. We'll say when I have to redo edges, though, they do end up turning out pretty legit because I know what's wrong with them after I've already done them. So everything's already kind of polished. I know where the mistakes are. Looks like it's gone. Here we go back to our 2000 grit stone. And I think I'm just going to polish this to 2000 grit for now. It looks to look good. I want to show you guys how to do the Tanto tip, and then maybe I'll come back later and polish the rest of it up. I just want to get this Tanto tip started so I can show you guys on video before it gets too late and I have to call it a day. Fuck it. Let's just get it done. I'm going to drop the whole thing at once. Let's do that. Let's drop the whole thing at the end. We'll have to remount it. Okay, so we're going to come back and drop it at the end because I want to show you guys how to do this tip now. So we're going to take the knife out of the clamp. I'm going to turn it at a 45-degree angle, basically. So clamping Tantos is kind of interesting. You have to find a good spot that will clamp well. Enough blade in there, in the clamp, with the tip sticking out parallel to the jaws. So you're going to basically put it in at a 45-degree angle. And so you got to find a good spot, a good flat spot to clamp it on. Like that. So Tantos are pretty easy to clamp. There's a good flat spot on the spine. Okay. Now, PM2s are sharpened at the same angle on the tip as on the primary bevel. So we are going to set this to 17 degrees. So make sure you readjust your angle when you're done, because when you do a Tanto, they're significantly different. So the leading edge is so much farther away from the front of the clamp that it completely changes the geometry. Like we're off by a degree and a half or two when you switch to a Tanto edge. So it's really important that you readjust, Sharpie it, and start over. Okay, at 17 degrees. So on Tanto tips, I'm less worried about getting it exactly at 17 as I am about picking the angle that's going to cause me to remove the least amount of steel. So right now at 17, it's a little bit low on both sides. It could be higher and better, so we're going to go higher and see if it gets the whole tip. It does. Much better. Okay, that side looks pretty legit. Let's mark it right again and see if it really is this nice. Ooh, there's our angle right there. And Tanto chip is going to be at 17.8 degrees. So it's a little bit higher. This will save us from pulling out a ton of steel for no reason. So there's no reason to do that, to sharpen that to 17 degrees if it's already at a little bit higher on both sides. Tips are really, this is You got to be careful not to roll over it on both sides. So the Tanto transition between the two bevels, you got to make sure you don't roll your stone over it. You also make sure you got to roll your stone off the front. So you're really just sharpening this little strip, little blade. So I go back and forth, different directions, making sure not to roll it, making sure to stay even throughout the edge with what I'm working. Okay. Looks like we're apex. Yep. We got an apex for most of it. Sometimes on these tips, you got to kind of like work little parts of it on the Tanto PM2s because the there we go. That was easy to profile. Hopefully this side is just as easy. I get asked so often, probably more than any other knife, when these are going to come back. It's so funny to me. So congrats to everyone who has them. You have a valuable property still. Even if it's S30V, people still want these. Okay, so the very tippity tip has a little bit of profiling to do. Otherwise, we're good to go. So to get the very tip, we're going like perpendicular straight into it because we're trying to grind away a little bit of material. While maintaining it being pointy. So if we don't get it all the way, we'll have a dull spot in our tip. We're almost there. Okay, looks like our tip. Yep, our tip is done. It's profiled. Do a quick pass again on the side. Get the burr down. Line the scratches up. Going up. Okay, now we can start going up through our stones. $800. Tip is the part that has the bigger bevel, and it's kind of hard to make the scratches disappear on the tip. So keep on working it in the same direction. And sometimes you'll find a spot's just not getting polished up very well. There you go. So we're going to do just one more stone on this thing to 2000 grit. And then I'm going to show you guys what we're working with. And then probably going to have to wrap this up and come back later and strop it before I'm all done. But I wanted to show you guys how to do the Tanto tip portion of it, at least. That's really good. Okay, we're just about done with this video. We're going to just finish this at 2000 grit. It's already polished, but then I got to run. I'll come back here and strop this tonight. Actually, I should probably strop the tip while I'm here, because it's at a different angle. Yeah, I don't have time. Okay, so that's how you sharpen a Tanto. I have to come back and strop it on the machine later tonight. I have some time. We had to redo the primary bevel, so it kind of killed our production rate on this one. So hopefully it looks good now to 2000 grit. Now getting all the Sharpie off the edge with the magic eraser. Got a lot of Sharpie on this guy, so we're going to spray it with some Gunny Glow. Then try to take it off. It's a little bit easier. A lot of it easier. Okay. Reveal of the semi-completed blade. It's not done yet, but you get an idea of what we're working with. It turned out nice. It was already mirrored. It's at 2000 grit. I'm going to leave it here, and I'm just going to strop it. It looks really good. I don't know if Lachezy's still here, but here's your PM2 in progress. It'll be done here today. I can't do your CRKT. It's too narrow to fit my jaws. So your order is done, and I'll get it boxed up and in the mail probably Tuesday because it's snowing here. So I'll get your box in the mail soon. Look how dirty my hands are. That's how much fucking steel dust came off there to profile that edge and polish that tip. So I'll just give this a strop. It looks really good at 2K. I don't think you want to spend the extra money to have me take it to 8K again. So there you go. Pretty cool. I'll make a reel of it, post it to Instagram. These are really good for getting business. So I'll take the opportunity that I have and make sure this gets posted. Well, thank you all for joining me. Sharpening a Tanto most of the way, except for stropping it. That was fun. I got to run. So thank you all for joining me. Watch for the notification that I'm coming back. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Millie PM2 Pair 3 Club. Join the Facebook group if you're not a member of the Facebook group, the Millie Club, and follow me, Thomas O. Moore, on Instagram. Peace out.